deliberate cadence and responsible roles keep reviews efficient and humane. Quarterly checkpoints catch drift before it spreads, while a deeper pre-assessment cycle validates end-to-end readiness. Clear ownership matters. A coordinator oversees scope and timelines. Control owners validate operations and gather evidence. A reviewer with fresh eyes tests traceability and clarity. Rotating reviewers reduces blind spots and spreads knowledge across teams. Short, time-boxed sessions prevent fatigue and preserve momentum. Calendar holds protect focus so reviews do not compete with urgent delivery work. When roles and frequency are explicit, the program becomes routine rather than heroic, and progress accumulates predictably. Scoring sanity checks and thresholds keep optimism honest. Before any formal submission, rescore a representative set of controls using the same criteria an assessor will use, then compare to the team's original marks. Gaps reveal misunderstanding, overconfidence, or evolving practice that never reach documentation. Use thresholds to trigger action, such as any variance over one level requires owner review and corrective evidence. Treat scores as indicators, not victories. The story behind a score matters more than the number. Record why a level was chosen, what proof supports it, and what would raise or lower it next quarter. This creates continuity across cycles and prevents argument by memory. Sanity checks make scoring disciplined rather than aspirational. Sampling completeness and population coverage ensure that evidence represents reality, not a lucky slice. Define the population first: systems, users, tickets, or changes. Then select samples that reflect risk and diversity of environments. For example, pick devices across platforms and regions, not just those closest to the team. Document the method: random draws, stratified picks, or risk-weighted choices, and keep the seed or query for repeatability. When exceptions exist, sample them too, because assessors will. Validate counts and denominators so percentages cannot be misread. If a sample fails, expand the poll to test whether the issue is isolated or systemic. Coverage that mirrors production strengthens credibility and guides remediation where it will matter most. Control ownership and accountability confirmations keep names aligned with duties. Each control should list a primary owner and a backup, with clear responsibilities for operation, monitoring, and evidence upkeep. Owners attest that controls ran during the period, that issues were logged, and that artifacts are current. These confirmations are short and dated, but powerful because they prove stewardship rather than anonymous compliance. Role changes trigger handoffs with checklists, so nothing is lost in transition. Quarterly roll calls surface gaps where a control is effectively orphaned. When ownership is explicit, reviews move faster, escalations land cleanly, and the organization avoids the silent risk of everyone's job being no one's job. Exceptions, expirations, and waiver tracking prevent temporary allowances from becoming permanent holes. Each exception states the reason, the risk, the compensating safeguards, and an expiration date, all approved by the right authority. Expiring items generate early reminders, not day-of alarms. During internal reviews, teams confirm that mitigations still operate and that closure plans are realistic. If an exception must be renewed, require fresh justification and updated milestones. Waivers live beside their related controls in the repository, so the full context is visible in one place. This discipline shows assessors that the organization manages reality rather than hiding it, and it helps leaders see where focused investment would retire recurring risk. Narrative clarity and cross-reference testing transform a pile of artifacts into a coherent story. Each control deserves a short, plain-language paragraph that states what the control does, how it operates, where evidence lives, and who is responsible. Cross-references then prove that links work. A reader should be able to click from narrative to artifact to ticket and back without dead ends. Jargon is minimized, and acronyms are expanded once for clarity. Version numbers and dates appear consistently so no one confuses last year's screenshot with this quarter's export. A separate reviewer reads only the narratives to judge whether they would make sense to someone new. Clear stories reduce meetings, shorten reviews, and lower the chance of misunderstandings during assessment. Tooling reports and export verification validate that data pipelines still tell the truth. For each platform identity, endpoint, vulnerability, logging, confirm that scheduled exports run, fields remain stable, and time ranges cover the review period. Spot check raw records against summaries to detect silent parsing errors or schema changes. Verify that dashboards match underlying datasets by recomputing one or two metrics independently. Save queries and report definitions alongside results so they can be rerun on demand. If an integration failed last month, keep the incident ticket and the fix note with the evidence set to answer obvious questions proactively. Tooling that proves itself removes doubt and keeps the conversation on outcomes, not mechanics. Assessor-style questions and dry runs build muscle memory for the real thing. A facilitator plays the assessor, asking concise, probing questions. Show me how you know encryption is enabled across the database fleet. Or, walk me from this alert to the ticket that resolved it. Timebox answers and require live retrieval whenever possible. Note any hesitation, missing context, or slow navigation, then fix the root causes in the repository or runbooks. Rotate participants so primary and backup owners both practice. Dry runs feel simple, but uncover friction that would otherwise appear under pressure. When teams can answer fast with proof on screen, confidence rises, and the assessment becomes a confirmation, not a discovery. Decision logs and issue closure provide the audit trail of improvement. For every finding in an internal review, create a lightweight entry that captures the decision, the action, the owner, and the due date. Link to the evidence or code change that closes the gap and mark the date of verification. Small, steady closures beat giant, late pushes because they maintain momentum and reduce context switching. Dashboards track open items by age and severity so leaders can remove blockers. At the next review, start by confirming that previous items stayed closed. Decision logs prove governance in action. The organization notices, decides, acts, and verifies over and over. Submission readiness and go or no-go criteria prevent risky filings. Define the minimum bar, evidence currency by control, exception backlog under a set threshold, 0 critical tooling gaps, and successful dry run scores across key domains. A readiness meeting reviews each criterion with artifacts on screen, not summaries. If the bar is not met, call a no-go, publish the gaps, and set the next checkpoint. This is not failure, it is control. When the bar is met, lock the evidence set, freeze narratives, and record the exact version submitted. A crisp decision backed by facts avoids debate and sets the tone for a calm, orderly engagement with the assessor. Post-review improvements and assignments turn findings into lasting gains. Group issues by theme, evidence retrieval, control operation, narrative clarity. Then assign small projects with owners and end dates. Add quick wins to the next sprint and schedule larger fixes with visible milestones. Update playbooks, pipelines, or templates so improvements persist beyond the people who made them. Celebrate measurable results like faster retrieval times or reduced exceptions to reinforce the habit. Close the loop by showing before and after metrics in the next governance meeting. Readiness is a capability, not a week on the calendar, and improvements prove it is growing. Sustaining readiness between cycles keeps the system warm. Light monthly health checks verify that exports run, exceptions move, narratives stay current, and owners remain correct. Quarterly mini-dry runs keep skills fresh and catch drift early. New systems join the repository the day they launch, not the month before assessment. A simple newsletter or dashboard shares status, celebrates closes, and calls out upcoming expirations. By treating readiness as everyday hygiene, like patching or backups, the organization avoids the frantic rush that erodes quality. The outcome is predictable: fewer surprises, faster assessments, and a calm, auditable posture worthy of the I1 standard.